You know what absolutely grinds my gears? The WWE Universe sat there for months, watching Roman Reigns get buried, disrespected, and cast aside like yesterday's trash. The tribal chief, the man who carried this company on his back for over 1,200 days, was treated like he didn't matter anymore. And now they want to bring him back to save the day, to help Jey Uso, the same man who betrayed him, the same man who superkicked him in the face and walked away, win the World Championship. Are you kidding me right now? This is the same WWE that told us Solo Sikoa was the new tribal chief, the same company that had us believe the bloodline was done with Roman. And suddenly, conveniently, when ratings need a boost and when Jey Uso needs a miracle, Roman Reigns comes back. But here's where it gets even more infuriating. Let me take you through the absolute chaos that unfolded at Saturday Night's Main Event 2025, because what we witnessed wasn't just a return, it was a statement. It was a reminder. It was the tribal chief reminding everyone exactly who runs this industry. The tension in the arena was suffocating from the moment Jey Uso's music hit. You could feel it through the screen. Jey was walking into the biggest match of his singles career, a world championship opportunity against Gunther, the ring general himself, the man who had decimated everyone in his path for months. Now, let me ask you something real quick, and I want you to drop this in the comments. Do you think Jey Uso deserved this world championship opportunity, or was this just WWE trying to capitalize on his popularity? Because that's the question everyone was asking going into this match. Jey's journey has been nothing short of remarkable. From being Roman's right-hand man, to being the punching bag of the bloodline, to finally breaking free and becoming his own man, Jey Uso had earned the respect of the WWE Universe. His youth movement had taken over. Crowds erupted every time his music hit. But there was always that lingering doubt, could Jey actually win the big one on his own? The match started, and immediately, Gunther took control. The ring general was doing what he does best, brutalizing his opponent with those devastating chops that echo through the arena like gunshots. Jey's chest was already welted and red within the first 5 minutes. Gunther was methodical, calculated, and absolutely dominant. But Jey showed heart. My God, did he show heart. Every time Gunther knocked him down, Jey got back up. Every time it looked like it was over, Jey found a way to keep fighting. The crowd was behind him 100%, chanting Ute, 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 trying to will him to victory. There were moments, beautiful moments, where you actually believed Jey could do it. A superkick out of nowhere that rocked Gunther. A suicide dive that sent both men crashing into the barricade. An Uso splash that got a near fall so close that the entire arena gasped. But Gunther kicked out, and he kicked out angry. The ring general unleashed a barrage of offense that was honestly hard to watch. A devastating powerbomb. Those brutal clotheslines. The Boston Crab locked in with vicious intent. Jey was fading. You could see it in his eyes. The dream was slipping away. Here's a question for the comment section. What was the best match of Jey Uso's singles career before this moment? Let me know your thoughts. Gunther pulled Jey up for what looked like the finishing blow, and that's when the arena went completely dark. I'm talking pitch black. The crowd noise was deafening, a mixture of confusion, anticipation, and pure electricity. And then, you know the one, the tribal drums, the earth-shaking bass, the music that had been absent from WWE programming for what felt like an eternity. The place exploded. I mean absolute pandemonium. People were losing their minds. The camera caught fans with their hands on their heads in disbelief. Some were crying. Others were screaming at the top of their lungs. Social media immediately crashed. Roman Reigns was trending #1 worldwide within seconds. Roman Reigns walked out onto that stage, and the aura, the presence, was undeniable. Dressed in all black, his eyes locked on the ring with that intensity that only the tribal chief possesses. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't playing to the crowd. This was business. But here's where it gets interesting, and here's where WWE played this perfectly. Roman didn't rush to the ring. He walked slowly, deliberately, his eyes never leaving the ring. You could see Gunther's expression change from confidence to concern. You could see Jey, bloodied and exhausted, looking at Roman with a mixture of disbelief, hope, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of fear. Because let's not forget, the last time these two were in the ring together, it didn't end well for Jey. Drop in the comments, did Jey need Roman's help, or should he have won on his own? This is crucial, people. Roman reached the ring, and for a moment, a long, agonizing moment, he just stood there on the apron, staring at Jey. The entire arena held its breath. Was he going to help? Was this a trick? Was Solo Sikoa about to appear and reveal this was all a setup? Gunther, seeing an opportunity, charged at Jey for a devastating clothesline. but Jey ducked, and Gunther went flying over the top rope, crashing right at Roman's feet. The tribal chief looked down at Gunther, then at Jey, then back at Gunther, and then he delivered the most thunderous Superman punch you've ever seen in your life. Gunther's head snapped back like he'd been hit by a freight train. The impact was so brutal that you could feel it through the screen. Roman looked directly into the camera and mouthed 2 words, "I'm back." The referee was conveniently distracted, you know how that goes, and Roman rolled Gunther back into the ring. Jey, running on pure adrenaline and emotion, climbed to the top rope. The crowd was on their feet, every single person in that arena standing and screaming. USO splash. The referee's hand slapped the mat. 1, 2, 3. The place went nuclear. Fireworks exploded. Confetti fell from the ceiling. Jey collapsed in the corner, clutching that championship like his life depended on it, tears streaming down his face. This was his moment. His crowning achievement. Everything he'd worked for, everything he'd sacrificed, it had all led to this. But the story wasn't over. Roman stepped into the ring, and the music cut. The celebration paused. Every eye in the building was on these 2 men, the tribal chief and the new champion. The history between them is so deep, so complicated, so layered with betrayal, loyalty, brotherhood, and pain. Jey stood up slowly, the championship on his shoulder, facing Roman. Neither man said a word. The tension was thick, and then Roman extended his hand. Let me know in the comments, should Jey have shaken his hand? Because what happened next is going to define the next chapter of WWE. Jey looked at Roman's hand. He looked at the championship. He looked at the crowd, who were divided, half chanting "you", half chanting "tribal chief." And Jey shook it, but not before pulling Roman in close and whispering something in his ear that the cameras didn't pick up. Roman's expression didn't change, but you could see something flash across his face. Acknowledgement? Respect? A warning? The 2 men stood in the center of the ring, and Roman raised Jey's hand high in the air. The visual was powerful, the tribal chief acknowledging the new champion. But if you know WWE, if you know the Bloodline saga, you know this is just the beginning of something much bigger. Let's break down what this means moving forward, because the implications are massive. First, Roman Reigns is back, and his return wasn't just a nostalgia pop. This was strategic. This was calculated. The man who held the Universal Championship for over 1,200 days doesn't just come back to help someone win a title without an endgame. What does Roman want? Is he coming for Jey's championship? Is he reuniting the Bloodline? Is this about taking down Solo Siko's new regime? Second, Jey Uso is now the World Heavyweight Champion, but his victory will forever have an asterisk next to it in some people's minds. Did he win because he was the better man, or did he win because Roman saved him? That's going to eat at Jey. That's going to create internal conflict, and that's what makes for incredible storytelling. Third, what about Gunther? The ring general just lost his championship in controversial fashion. You think he's going to accept this? Absolutely not. Gunther is going to want his rematch, and he's going to want blood. The rematch between these 2, especially with Roman lurking in the background, is going to be explosive. Quick question for engagement, who would win in a one-on-one match right now, Roman Reigns or Gunther? Sound off below. And then there's the elephant in the room, Solo Sikoa. The self-proclaimed tribal chief has been running the Bloodline with an iron fist. He exiled Roman. He's been asserting his dominance. And now Roman is back. You think Solo is just going to step aside? This is setting up for a collision that's going to shake WWE to its core. Saturday Night's Main Event 2025 wasn't just a wrestling show. It was a statement. It reminded us why we fell in love with professional wrestling in the first place. The storytelling, the emotion, the unpredictability, everything clicked perfectly. Jey Uso's journey from sidekick to champion is a story of perseverance and heart. Roman Reigns' return reminded everyone that no matter how much time passes, no matter who tries to take his spot, there is only one tribal chief. And this new chapter of the Bloodline saga is going to be absolutely unmissable. The question isn't whether you should be watching WWE right now. The question is, can you afford not to? Final question for all of you in the Wrestling Zone community: what happens when Roman Reigns eventually asks Jey Uso to acknowledge him as the tribal chief again? Because you know that's coming. Drop all your thoughts, predictions, and reactions in the comments. Smash that like button if you're excited about where this story is going. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to be breaking down every single twist and turn of this Bloodline saga. The tribal chief is back, Jey Uso is the champion, and wrestling just got a whole lot more interesting. Welcome to the new era. Welcome to the Bloodline 2.0. And that's how you make Saturday Night's Main Event absolutely unforgettable.